Hey guys, Harry here, and welcome to Premier League Predictions, Game Week 9, I believe. So let's get started. Starting with Crystal Palace versus Arsenal at Selhurst Park. Obviously, two very different teams in terms of form at the minute. Arsenal on top in first, and Crystal Palace down in 19th. Very beautiful football from Arsenal. Form is obviously very good. Surprisingly, they've only kept one clean sheet, but as we know, they play fantastic one-touch football. Top of the league, as I've said, and in particular, Ozil and Ramsey in great form. Moving on, Crystal Palace currently, obviously, the relegation zone. If I'm honest, they lack Premier League quality. There's not too many players in there that would get into a top 10 side, really. Very weak team. And one of the weaknesses is ball retention. They struggle to keep possession and the ball for long periods of time. However, one positive is they win most aerial duels, as they have a very tall team. Manager is Ian Holloway, and also manager for Arsenal is Arsene Wenger. I'm predicting a very high 5-0 score for Arsenal. Just too much skill and pace and just great passing in the Arsenal team for Crystal Palace to cope with. We've got the likes of Ozil, Ramsey, Cazorla, absolutely fantastic players. So 5-0 there. Moving on to Aston Villa versus Everton. Aston Villa, great team, I think, very young team, very well to stay up last season. We've got Benteke returning from injury. He was on the subs bench on Saturday, I believe, and they are currently in 13th, and Everton are in 7th. Aston Villa's form is average and Everton's is good. Obviously, with a young team, you're going to have lots of pace, and that works well for Aston Villa on the counter-attacks especially. Seem to score a lot of goals from Agbonlahor especially. Very young, energetic team, as I said. When they get the chance to score, they always seem to score, which is great, especially with Benteke. And yeah, as I've said, Benteke returning. Manager is obviously Paul Lambert. Moving on to Everton, manager Roberto Martinez in good form, very good form. Obviously, they've got a top quality striker in the shape of Lukaku on loan from Chelsea. Can't believe Chelsea did that. Very experienced defence with the like of Jagielka, Baines, Distan and Coleman starting to get better as well. Very attacking fullbacks as well with Baines and Coleman. And then a very great set piece taker in the shape of Morales and Baines. A very strong team at the minute and playing beautiful passing football. I predicted a 2-2 here. I think Everton are playing better at the minute, but I just think at home Aston Villa could cause damage. Moving on to the Liverpool match versus West Brom at Anfield. I'm predicting 2-1 to Liverpool. They've just got better players at the minute, a lot more skill in the team. They've obviously got a deadly attacking threat in the shape of Suarez and Sturridge. Four clean sheets in 8 games, so that's half. The only weakness I've noticed in pretty much every match, they seem to play fantastic in the first half, but then lose a bit of gas in the second half. And obviously have great passing statistics under Brendan Rodgers' style of play. Form is obviously very good as they are in third. Moving on to West Brom. Definitely getting better in my opinion. Didn't have the great start of the season, but definitely improving under Steve Clarke. Good form. Conceded 6 in 8 games, which is very low. Weakness is attacking play down the wings. Don't have many solid wingers, to be honest. Very central team. They've got a class player in the shape of Anelka. Just keeps the ball rolling around the team. Does a lot of link-up play and a very good finisher. And we have Sessegnon, who moved from Sunderland and is burst into life under his new club. So 2-1 there to Liverpool. Moving on to Manchester United versus Stoke City. Manchester United under a lot of pressure and David Moyes. Drew the last match against Southampton, playing very poorly. I've watched every game they've played. And they've got to get a win here, so that's why I think they're going to get one. They have to get one. Currently they lack the fear factor under Moyes. Teams are worried about going to the team. They lack creativity. The likes of Fellaini and Cleverley are just not cutting it. In my opinion, they need to put Kagawa in there. I know he's not playing the best, but they need to get him in there. Still have quality players in the shape of Robbie van Persie, Rooney and Carrick, so it's not like loads of players have left. And they're surprisingly struggling to keep possession as teams are pressing high. Currently 8th in the league and form is poor. Moving on to Stoke, they are 16th in the league. Form is average, seem to have a very good start to the season, but slow, quite weak in the last few games. Only scored 1 in the last 5 games, which is abysmal. Obviously, very tall team. Seem to, especially before Mark Hughes, play a lot of long balls. We've got Shawcross as a very tall player. We've got Crouch, who doesn't play too much anymore. So yeah, win many aerial duels, very tall defence, and they lack a 15 goals a season striker, unfortunately. That's what they need to get in January. So 2-1 to Manchester United. I just believe they'll have to win this game, and they will. Moving on to Norwich against Cardiff City at Carrow Road. Also on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Manager is Chris Hughton for Norwich, in good form. They are 18th though, so not the best. Definitely getting better. They have a weak current defence, and they lack a 15 goal striker per season. They do have who is it? Gary Hooper from Celtic, but he hasn't been playing very well. Good set piece taker in Snodgrass, but they have conceded a very high 13 in 8 games. Moving on to Cardiff, it's currently 17th position, just one above Norwich. Manager is Malky Mackay. Form is average, and obviously they're very high team, so they're strong at attacking set pieces. Decent long shot takers in the team, such as Much, and they seem to play with whip, which is good. They seem to go down the wings and cross it in to the strikers, and they do the rest. When I've watched them, I've also noticed very high work rates. The team seems to work well together in terms of defending and always pressing for the ball. So 2-1 to Norwich there. I believe they have to get a win, and they just have more quality than Cardiff. Moving on to Southampton versus Fulham. Southampton doing absolutely incredible at the minute under Mauricio Pochettino. Currently in 6th, and form is obviously very good. Drew against Manchester United 1-1. Only conceded 3 goals in 8 games, which is incredible considering, in my opinion, the very unexperienced and young defence. Quality set piece taker in Lambert, getting into the England team recently. Always create many chances, that's one of the traits of them. However, they do lack a clinical striker at the moment, not scoring too many goals. Osvaldo should be scoring goals, but he's just not playing too well. Moving on to Fulham, absolutely incredible against Crystal Palace. I know they're not the best team, but they played so well. Berbatov, absolute class player. Just keeps beautiful link-up player to the wide men and just played it through the midfield. However, their midfield is very small, so they do lose a lot of aerial duels. Very slow team as well, so vulnerable to counter-attacks, but they do utilise their fullbacks in the shape of Kieran Richardson and a very good Sacha Rifa. I'm predicting 3-1 to Southampton, but I really don't know on this one. I mean, Fulham played absolutely incredible against Crystal Palace, so it could easily be 3-1 to Fulham. But anyway, moving on. Let's go to the big derby. Newcastle, Sunderland, what a game this is going to be. Newcastle in 10th, Sunderland at the bottom of the table in 20th. You've just got a new manager, Gus Poyet. Form is obviously very good for... oh, that's wrong, sorry. Very bad, sorry, just let me change that now. Sorry about that, guys. Very bad, as they're in 20th. Conceded highest in the league, 20 goals, which is an awful lot. Very aggressive team there with the like of Bardsley and... oh, there's another one, but I can't remember it at the minute. And they do win a lot of one-on-one tackles. However, they're very weak at retaining possession and just can't seem to string a few passes together, in my opinion. If they need to improve, I think they need to play a consistent first 11. New manager, obviously, so he's tried a few things out, but he needs to get a consistent first 11 so they could gel together. Moving on to Newcastle, we can see they're in 10th under Alan Pardew. Form is average. For me, they have weak substitutions and squad depth. There's only a few players on the bench that can come on to improve the game. I know Dummett scored at the weekend, but to be honest, I hadn't heard much about him before the match. Lots of attacking flair in the shape of Ben Arfa and Remy. Beginning to find form, in my opinion, playing very well. Kabay especially, very good player. A bit of controversial activity in the transfer window, but he seems to put that under the radar. and they have conceded the third highest, I believe, now after the Crystal Palace game in the shape of 14 goals. 3-1 to Newcastle, just a lot more quality, and Sunderland aren't playing well at the minute. Moving on to another big match, Chelsea versus Man City. Two teams definitely in form. Chelsea in second, Man City in fourth. Form is both good on Chelsea and Man City. Obviously, manager of Chelsea is Jose Mourinho, and manager of Man City is Manuel Pellegrini. Looking at Chelsea, we know they are fantastic at defending set pieces. We've got the experience, John Terry and Gary Cahill, and David Moyes is also very tall. Under Mourinho, they're obviously very good at keeping the lead. Mourinho's not afraid to chuck on an extra defender with only 20 minutes to go. Strong attacking threat, obviously, with the likes of Oscar, Hazard, Mata, and Eto'o beginning to find form. Very fast players and deadly counter-attacks. I believe they've scored 3 counter-attacking goals this season, which is very good, and just a very fast team. Moving on to Man City, obviously strong at defending set pieces, but that doesn't seem to happen when Vincent Kompany is not in the team, and he is injured at the minute, but he might make a return against Chelsea. I hope he does, because it vastly improves Man City. They do attempt a lot of through balls with the likes of Silva, Fernandinho and Yaya Toure in the team, play very centrally. They do have Navas, who is their only proper wide man in my opinion. Lots of pace in the team with Navas. Many attacking options up front with Aguero, Dzeko, Negredo and Jovetic underlining the squad strength. I'm predicting a 1-1. Quite a dull game actually, it was last season. I just think the two teams will cancel each other out with the quality they have. So 1-1 there. Moving on to Swansea versus West Ham. Swansea are playing very well, beat Sunderland 4-0. They conceded 11 in 8 games, which is quite high, but Ashley Williams has been injured. Great passing team, obviously, under Michael Laudrup. Play a lot of possession football. And obviously great link-up play with Michu and Boney. Very class players. In 11th place currently, and form is obviously good. Manager Michael Laudrup. Moving on to West Ham, very poor form at the minute, which is surprising. They did well last season in 15th place. Manager Sam Allardyce seemed to play a lot of long balls as well as Stoke. Good at attacking the set pieces with the tall defenders James Collins, and they are a very aggressive team. Seem to get a lot of yellow cards and just generally go into tackles hard. They do use the long ball, as I've said, and they do surprisingly create a lot of chances, but it's just a case of finishing them off. They don't have a top class striker at the minute with Andy Carroll out, and they've just signed Carton Court on loan. 2-1 to Swansea, just got a lot more skill and passing, just better passing team, and I think Mitch and Birdie could both score, but I think it could be quite a close game. Moving on to our final match, Tottenham versus Hull City. I think this will be quite a close match. Under Steve Bruce, Hull are fairly solid defensively. Tottenham obviously very good team after the transfer window especially. However, at the minute they don't seem to possess clinical finishing. Soldado, when he gets the ball, I've noticed, in a good position to shoot, thinks it's better to pass to someone else, which surprises me as he's a poacher, but he did score at the weekend. Very high up the pitch centre-backs under Villas-Boas, which leaves gaps in behind, but they haven't conceded too many goals, and Loris seems to cover very well behind them, so it's alright. Fantastic attacking potential with Eriksson, Lamela and Soldado, but surprisingly Lamela not playing too well, as he is playing centrally. I believe he's better out wide. Yeah, as you can see here, play very centrally, including wingers. Form is average and position is 5th. Moving on to Hull City, currently 9th, which is very good for a promoted team. Form is good under Steve Bruce. Again, another team that struggles to keep possession. Play a few long balls, but still they try to pass it, but they just can't do it very well. Lack a bit of quality. Very tall defence. Chester is one of them, and when they get in a winning position like Chelsea, they seem to be able to maintain it, which is a very good trait to have. And again, they lack a clinical striker that's going to get them 15 to 20 goals this season. They've got Sagbo, I think it is, who scored at the weekend, but he's not the best in my opinion, so that's where they can improve. So that's the end of the video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that video. Leave a like if you want, and subscribe for more. Yeah, goodbye.